Hello and welcome to Jennifer Knatters, my knitting and nattering podcast. I'm Jennifer. I'll be your host today. And I'm sorry, every time I move my arms, for returning viewers, this is not where I normally record. My husband was sat out in the conservatory watching cricket, so I thought I will sneak into the bedroom and I will record a podcast. You're balanced on a box on the bed, and every time I move, every time I move, the camera jingles. So I need to hold still and not be very expressive. My husband sat down in the conservatory to watch cricket, and I went and got showered, and both my children, of course, came with me. I live with my husband and two small children and two cats. And when I was dressed, I took the toddler and gave her to my husband so she could be with him. She's watching children's songs on her pad. My older one is watching Netflix on the telly, and I thought I would just sneak in here and do this podcast in natural lighting. And then my husband followed me and is now taking a shower. So if you can hear that, that's him taking the shower. But I already had everything set up in here, and I don't want to go sit in the conservatory because that's where my 2-year-old is. And I know if I do this out there, both of my children be like, "What's going on? What are you doing? Let me jump in with you." So we're just going to have to deal with a little camera shaking today, and I'm very sorry. As I was saying, I'm Jennifer, and this is my knitting podcast. And today is the 8th of September. I don't have show notes today because, like I said, I just ran in here and grabbed everything and sat down to do this. So we're going to wing it. They haven't been the most structured or together lately anyway, so you may not even notice the difference. Today is a gloriously sunny day in northern Scotland. Yesterday was as well. I went to the Perth Festival of Yarn with Miss Wendy from my knitting group. We took the train down together, ran into a whole bunch of people I know online, and then we took the train back up together. So it was a really nice day. Last night I put my 2-year-old to bed, and then my husband puts the 6-year-old to bed. And I thought I will just watch like one episode of something on Netflix and do a little knitting before I go to bed. And I got my pad out, and I basically just sat here holding my knitting bag, looking at my pad, and not even getting as far as turning Netflix on. So I decided I was too tired to watch telly. How tired is that? Absolutely worn out yesterday. So let's get right in. I may not get through all of this. The second half may wind up being in the conservatory at night like it normally is. But I have a finished object. Last time I said I hadn't worked on any of the things that I had previously had as works in progress. But I did finish my Skystone arm warmers, which were the August project for Boost Your Knitting. I haven't woven the ends in yet. I was splicing my ends together as I went, so I really only have 2 ends here, 2 ends here, and 4 ends for the thumb. Those do need going in. I did it with the start of round. The pattern has the start of round B down the side with the thumb, but I changed it so it's the far side, so that when the person wearing it, these are intended as gift. They're going to go in the gift box. I have friends who are moving here to Scotland. They come Tuesday, I believe. They now arrive Tuesday. I have not given them a box of woolen things, but I do have some hand knits that they can have. It's not a ton of stuff, but it's not particularly cold yet either, so we have time to increase the box once they know what they like. Two, ta-da! 2 beautiful arm warmers. And so that was a work in progress last week. A work in progress that I didn't mention last week is I'm halfway through around on this. These are the Anna Mockery socks, and I'm working on the second one. The Skystone arm warmers I mentioned are in the Boost Your Knitting Another Year of Techniques, which is edited by the Arnold Culliford's and taking place, there's a knit along in their Ravelry group. This pattern is by Felix Ford. Felicity goes by Felix Ford. And they're knit in Jameson Smith 2-ply jumper weight. Animalcry Socks by Hunter Hammerson. As you can see, I have finished the first one. And I am working on the second one. I've previously stabbed myself with these needles on this podcast, so they sat in timeout for a while. The finished ones are a little wider because I've tried them on, so they're a little stretched out. That's why they look a little wider. It's the same stitch count and needle and everything. So it is, because it's a bit of a ribbing, it does pull in a fair bit. So I've got these, and I think I showed them before, and I was only, it only just started. Oh, Libby's come to see me. You don't normally see Libby on this podcast. But I accidentally, when I started this one, I got the row count wrong for doing these little fake cables. So I just made it a cuff, and then I repeated it on this side. So I'm almost ready to work the heel turn. These have been my out and about knitting project again. They've come out of timeout. Oh, I think she just went and sat in the closet, so no Libby for us. Libby is my gray kitty cat, not one of my children. The children don't usually hang out in my closet. My closet's really full. So that's finished object, first work in progress that you saw last week. And then I have barely done anything on my minis project, which I started for last week. I'm almost done with this square, so if I have a chance to knit while I natter with you, then I will work on this one. So I've talked about all the other ones, and I've just added this green one and this orange one, which are both Ripples Crafts colors. These were pretty much all Lucy Lockett land. I talked about them last time. Ripples Crafts, this is her reliable sock yarn, and I think the color is something like lettuce or spring greens. This is an autumn colorway on her Solvin base, which is a merino silk yak blend that I bought for something and then didn't knit. So I have an entire, I pulled this out of a 100-gram skein. This is not a leftover, but I was hoping to ball up the rest of this. I hear a small child coming. To ball up this and hand out minis at Perth Yarn Festival. It did not happen. And then this one is opal in what I think of as our Greek holiday color, both because the colors match Greece really well, or at least where we were in Greece. And I bought the yarn on that holiday. I bought it in Glasgow before we got on a plane and flew to Greece, but they're my Greek holiday socks. And this is my first commercial one and my first self-striping one in here. Ta-da! So I don't have a lot of minis. This is why I haven't worked on this. My hands kept being like, I could just work on my mini project. In fact, going into this is the only commercial mini I'd ever bought. This one I believe is Spectrum yarn. Obviously it doesn't have a label or anything, so it's hard to tell. But I pulled that one out and put it with my blanket, and that was kind of as far as I could get because after that I don't have more yarn. But don't worry, I went to a yarn festival yesterday. I have acquired a large child. Hold on. Sorry about that. My husband is done with the shower. I have acquired a 6-year-old. I have managed to send the 2-year-old off with her daddy to help him get dressed. That seems like a good use of her time because she had come in here also and was watching her music videos. I don't like that, darling. So yeah, we have a co-host. Co-host means you're also here with me. And I have 2 new projects for this week. The first one is the new Boost Your Knitting project, and it is a brioche. The project in the book is a scarf. What are you doing? But I wasn't feeling the scarf love, so I am knitting a shawl I love shawls. I don't tend to wear them. I'm sure this one will be different, right? But the yarn is Nua. Oh, that's something I forgot to get. Okay, anyway, the yarn is Nua, which is Carol Feller's yarn, and this is the sport weight version, and it is merino yak linen blend, and that's a gray one and a pinky purple one. They all have names, and I don't know what they're not. The color names aren't gray, pink, purple, magenta. Those names I can remember. Like I think this one is something about flamingos, and I have no idea what the gray one is. Storm clouds, maybe. So I'm not great.
Stormy?
I don't know, darling. It's not named after your pushing. But the book did come out, so I can show you. I just went past it. Doot, 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 doot. This is the pattern that was written for the yarn. And this is Falling Leaves Scarf. But instead I am knitting Vine and Veil Shawl, also by Carol Feller. So I've only just started it. My yarn came, I think, on Friday. And maybe it came Thursday. But I only just cast on and knit a little bit. Excuse me. I am finding brioche, looking at the patterns, I find looking at the patterns very confusing, and I'll just show you part of the one in the book. But that is all the little extra loops and dots and loopy dots and lines. You want to talk to the internet? Hold on, okay? Do you want to go get your pusheen so you can show them to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
My assistant will be right back.
My assistant will be right back. She wants to tell you about her pusheen collection. Anyway, if I'm looking at the patterns, I'm just going to wiggle the camera. I'm very sorry. There's been a lot going on in here, and it's very stressful. It's very stressful, I wish.
I'm only bringing my ginormous one, Mom.
Okay, she's only bringing her ginormous pushings. I find looking at the brioche written patterns very intimidating. Just now throwing pushings at me. Knitting them, on the other hand, has been really easy and intuitive. And this Nua in particular is making a delicious fabric. It's just, here, do you want to squish that for me? How does that feel?
Nice.
It feels nice. So I've got that. I don't normally show you my knitting bags, but I absolutely love this one, which is by Spinagins. I don't know. I will let you know when it's your turn, okay? Okay, darling, I will let you know. It has this nice handle with a clasp, and then there's another D-ring on the other side, so you can hook them together and turn the whole bucket bag. So it's not just the handle on one side. Then inside it has magnetic snaps. So you can hold it together and then pinch this side, and now the bag is all closed up at top. It has pockets inside and a center divide. So you can do, I don't know if you can really see that, but there's a center divide. And then I have a skein, pink skein, gray skein. Christine would like me to show you that the bottom has hair on it. Yes, everything in our house has hair on it. We have two cats.
Because we've got two cats, Oliver and Libby. One is more lanky and it's grey, and one is more fat and it's yellow and orange.
Oliver is our fluffy ginger, and Libby is our slinky gray cat. So anyway, I love this bag more than life itself, and I'm very sad that she closed her Etsy shop. I believe she went on hiatus shortly after I bought this one. She's in Canada, so I even risked paying import duties to get this one. But I'm hoping she closed the shop because she started her own one, and if I Google, I will find more. But if not, favorite bag, can never have it again. The other, you can talk after I finish my new projects, okay? The other new project I have this week is for the Hohi Locatelli knit along, and this is her 3-color cashmere cowl, which I am knitting in my leftover Fiber Spates scrumptious 4-ply from her shawl in Boost Your Knitting, which I believe was the Sterling shawl, which is this one. I talked about it when I knit it back in April. It says here April. Mine obviously is in these colors. My only problem is my yarn color B is almost all run out. This was my train knitting for the trip down to Perth yesterday, and I put a stitch marker in where I was when we started the train journey, and when we got there 2 hours later I was only like an inch further up, but over the course of the day I have made it up to here, and then there's supposed to be 9 total of each color of these stripes. I don't have enough. And then there's going to be the big pink section, and then it's back to the first 2 colors. So I have asked on the AC Knitwear Ravelry group if anyone else has leftover teal from their shawl. So hopefully someone else has a 20-gram, 40-gram ball that they can send me, which means that this is not actually going to use up all the stash like it was supposed to. It's going to just get me a different quantity of stash. We'll see if anyone even has the yarn left over that they can send me. So this might go sit in timeout for a while until I can get more yarn. What name would you like me to? I've been calling you Tulip on the blog, but what would you like to be called? Jen? You want to be called Pusheen. Pusheen here would like to show you about her Pusheen. So I'm just going to turn the camera slightly. There you go.
So, I've got a whole collection of Pusheens in my room, and I've gotten out my 2 ginormous Pusheens, and this one here is holding a lollipop, and it's got its mouth wide open, and it's got a very long tail, and it loves scratches, and it's very chubby. And now I also have a ginormous narwhal Pusheen. Here it is, and it's got a big white tummy, ginormous paws, and its mouth is also wide open, and it has a horn, as you can see, and a ginormous little tag that can move its tail.
Hold on, let go. It is a
one that in the
lenticulated.
Reticulated, and it also has some spots on its back, and its cute tail, and it also likes scratches. And I'm going to go and show you some more. I'll be in a minute. Pause.
I'm not pausing the video. I'm going to keep going. The 2-year-old is also here, if that isn't. Let's see. Trying to climb up into the bed. Oh, do you want to come say hi? I apologize. This is why I normally do it at night when everybody's gone to bed. Okay, you can show them one more Pusheen and that's it, okay?
2 more.
2 more. She's brought 2 more with her.
And I've also got more Pusheens now. And this one's a pink ice cream Pusheen. And it's got its mouth open. And it has one stripe because the other one's on the ice cream cone. And it's also a keychain, so you can hang it on your bag. But I like to just hang it on another keychain one. I've got another keychain one in my room, but it's tinier. And also, Mommy.
Yes.
And also,
It's us and Mummy. Yes. Can Christina finish talking, please?
And also, I've got another one, and it's an alicorn with wings and a horn, and it has a purple keychain clip. and it has a pink tail, and its mouth is set, and it has 3 colours of hair on its back, and it has a big ginormous monkey mark, and its tummy loves scratches.
Okay, and this is Catherine. She has brought a teddy bear that Daddy had when he was little. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Okay, can Mummy finish doing her knitting thing? Do you want to go sit with Daddy?
And this side.
You're going to sit on the side. She's now... Okay, you can't jump on the bed, baby, because you're shaking the pad, okay? You have to sit quietly or... Hey, come here. Hey, come here. You have to either sit quietly or go help Daddy, okay? Are you going to sit quietly?
Yeah.
I don't believe her. There's no chance she's lying, is there? No. Yes.
Papa?
Yes. A bat? Is that Barracuda bat?
Papa?
Did Mommy make this bat last year?
Me.
For you? That was awfully nice of me.
Ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, ba.
Okay. I'm just going to stop this for a bit and see if we can try again later. Sorry about that. I have managed to run them both off now. I sent them outside to play in the sunshine. Ooh, look, I've got a little rainbow coming in from the window. While we're on the subject, this quilt is one my mother made for me. I do not quilt. She cut it out of a single piece of fabric. The border and the inside are not connected, but they were traced out on a single piece of fabric and then cut out. And I believe it is a Hawaiian quilt design, but it's clearly very Scottish. Hawaiian. It's got waves and shells, and then it's got the thistles and the Scottish flag in the middle. So yes, that is, my mother made that. I do not quilt. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm very lucky she gave it to me. And I'm just a little bit discombobulated today. I thought I was doing pretty well too until we had the children. I love my children. They are wonderful. They are very cute. They can be a bit much sometimes. In acquisitions this week, on Tuesday, I got a bunch of books. I got 2 new releases I've been waiting for on my Kindle, and I got 2 physical books, one of which I already started to show you was the Boost Your Knitting, A Year of Techniques. And one of my favorite things about these books is they have a close-up of each month's technique on the back color. So that was tuck stitches, fixing mistakes in lace. I don't remember. I think that was the cast on dip stitches, intarsia in the round, choosing colors for color work. This is brioche. That one I believe is going to be joining colors for color work. This one is Marlisle double knitting. This is one about cables. What's the cable one? They're an alpha tubular cast on. That was the other one. Gusset short row heels for socks. That's what. Gusset short row heels for socks. And then this is finishing techniques for toys. So it is, I just love those little pictures. And then these, on the inside cover, you get pictures of the projects. I can't see what I'm showing. Oh, now I can see what I'm showing you. And we've done these, the spring ones and the summer ones. We've just started the autumn ones. I bought the kit for these, clearly, because I have the Nua and I'm knitting with it. In order to make the pullover in a size large enough for my 2-year-old, I will need to get another skein each of the yellow and the blue, something to knit with 4-ply. And then I got these are the colors I got. I got the designer colors. So that one's a bit more autumnal. The Jameson and Smith are more autumnal colors than I normally pick, which means they're colors I don't have in my stash of my colorwork stash. So I will probably use those colors simply because they're the ones that come with the hat, and then they'll go nicely in my box of gift knitting for my friends who are moving here. But who knows, I may decide to knit something else for myself. So that's the first book I got. I'm very excited to finally have it. And the second book I got was this Golden Fleece, which has golden lettering, A Journey Through Britain's Knitted History. And that is by Esther Rutter. I don't know how she pronounces her last name. Rutter, maybe? Rutter? And it says, inside, on the back cover, inside a paper bag were 4 balls of wool, peaty black, charcoal, dove gray, white. Banded with paper around the middle, this was Shetland heritage yarn from Jameson and Smith. Printed on the band was a line of tiny symbols, a shepherd's crook, a hand dipped in water, an iron crossed through, and, my favorite, 3 tiny Shetland sheep with horns and curling fleeces staring down the crook. 3 renegades from Britain's northeast edge, their horns a proud trumpet and warning. My fingers prickled with the urge to knit them up. What would I make with this hardy wool? So I've heard a little bit about this while it was being researched, I suppose is the word, while she was traveling around and knitting it. But the book release was just, it came out on Tuesday. Got my book on Tuesday, was its official release, but there was a party earlier, but she traveled around different places, like Shetland knitting, just different knitting techniques, things specifically, oh, this picture's great. Artist models her woolen knit swimwear. So I haven't read it yet. I haven't even started it yet. One of the books that came out for my Kindle on Tuesday was a continuing in a series. So that's the one. I'm actually reading the book before that one. I tried to start reading it so I'd have finished it just in time to start it on Tuesday, and life got in the way, so that didn't happen. But I'm currently on that series, and I will pick this one up soon. I'm very excited to have this. Again, the paper is nice, and the print quality is nice. This is a commercial publisher, whereas like this one's self-published. So yeah, I am very excited about those two. I did get my autumn kit for this one, but in today's excitement, I forgot to collect it. But I have plenty to talk about because, apologize for the crinkling. Here in my Year of Technique bags from 2 years ago, I did not manage to find this yesterday morning. I had laid it out in advance on the edge of my bed, and then my children happened. So when I got up yesterday morning to get it, I couldn't find it. So I had a brown paper bag someone gave me, well, Oot and a Boot. One of the shops gave me one for yesterday. And I'm just trying to separate this again because of my children. I just apologize a bit for crinkling. I should have done this in advance. This is not going to be a very easy to watch video, I don't think, between all the bouncing and everything else. So kind of just in the order, mostly just the order that I find it. I picked up, this is the only commercial yarn I bought, which is the Retreat Chunky Rovings. This is a single ply. It's just one fluffy twist of yarn. It's not 2 threads that have been twisted together to make it stronger. This is 100% blue-faced Carrie Hill, reared, sheared, and spun in Britain. There's a lot of stomping. There's a lot of stomping. If you remember last week, if you watched last week, I showed 2 test knits that I'd done for Hunter Hammerson. This is for a 3rd test knit for Miss Hammerson. and this is for a brioche hat. Yes, I just started my first real brioche project this week, and I'm already ready to do another one, but this will be a chunky hat. The pictures she's shown are absolutely beautiful. I picked red and black because I think they will, there's enough here. She knit it in 2 50-gram balls. 2 balls that are 50 grams each. And these are each 100-gram balls. So I will be able to get at least 2 hats out of that. But I figure those ones can go in the box for the cousins. Everybody likes red and black, right? I can hear my children in the hallway stomping with their boots on. They're not supposed to wear their boots in the house, but they're not in here bothering me, so I'm going to turn a blind eye. Tuesday is the big house cleaning day, so it'll all get cleaned soon anyway. Sorry, more crinkling stuff. I will do the crinkly one next, and then when I touch the rest, it won't be. This has completely fallen apart in its wee bag. This is Mothie and the Squid. Oh, take the price tag off because it's a bit tacky. This is the most expensive thing I bought. Was this set. It is 100 grams, 420 meters. I believe these are 20-gram minis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just dump them all out. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10. And they were lined up in a perfect little gradient. Doot, doot, doot. Doot, doot, doot. Which, okay, here we go. Perfect little gradient from pink at this end to purple at this end, but these pink and purple match here, and they kind of go together at the other end again as well. So here are all my beautiful minis for my scrap yarn blanket, which is not being made in scrap yarn. There are enough here that I could either do 4 squares in each color, 20 grams, and I've largely been doing 5 grams for a square. So I could either do 4 squares in each color, not all next to each other, obviously, or even just 2 squares and still have 10 grams of each color to trade. Those are not the first minis I bought, but those are the crinkly ones, so I have moved the crinkle out of the way, and now I can touch other things, and hopefully they won't crinkle. Then there was a little shop that had a couple different brands of yarn that it was selling there. And one of them was the Fiber Fox, which is this gray with the rainbow going through it. They had another more neon rainbow, and then they also had one where it was the gray and then a shorter twist, but it was all purples, a purple gradient, and that one really just, it was calling my name. But I was strong. I just bought the one, and when I use it, this is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 425 meters per 100 grams. So I tend to think of this as a thinner sock weight, but I don't think I will use it for socks. I might use it for socks, I don't know. But it was so beautiful, it had to come home. This is Looking for Rainbows number 2. As I said, there was another rainbow. It will probably live in my little yarn barn over there, so I can see it every day until I decide to either use it or I don't know what the other option is. Until I get around to using it. So there's that one. And from the same shop, I also got, this is the Loveliest Yarn Company Mini. So this is approximately 20 grams, and I got the green and the blue. My stash swings heavily towards purples, so green and blue. And they also had these little stitch markers, Jammy Dodger stitch markers. And these are Chapel View crafts. Oh, and my 2-year-old was playing with it, so they all just fell out. But they're little Jammy Dodger Project Keeper ones, Progress Keeper ones. So I've got these wee ones. And then I can't remember the name of the shop, but they had a lot of wooden stuff. And they also had these sock measurers, and they have centimeters on the front and inches on the back. And then they have European sizes and how long that is in centimeters. So if you know someone's shoe length, like you measure their foot to get how big around it is, but then you need to know knit until so long before, you know, the end of the length you need. You can measure how far that is for how long their foot is. There was a slightly more expensive version of this that also had holes so you could use it to see what size your needle was, and then it also on the back had instructions for Kitchener stitch. I don't forget how to Kitchener stitch anymore, so I did not need that. And they also had from the Soap Dairy the shampoo bar that I use. A couple people had stuff from the Soap Dairy, specifically their wool wash, their bar wool wash, and then a few people had that shop, and another shop, which I believe was the one where I got my little minis I just showed you, also had a hand salve, but that one was the only one that had the shampoo, so I did get the shampoo. The first thing I had bought were these are 10 gram minis, so they're a little smaller, and these are Rainbow Sock Roller Coaster Brights Poppy Sock, 100% British BFL, grown and processed and spun in the UK. And this is Ovis Yarns. Ovis Yarns too. Sorry, Catherine was in here with her baby shark stuff going on. So I've got my Brights, and that's one of the reasons I got the green and blues, because I bought this first. And then the greens and blues, because I kind of saw myself getting more like the pinks and the purples. So I bought some green and blues. This was before I got my entire set of all of my Very Happy Speckled minis. And then there was Banshee Yarns, which I believe was an Irish lady, because she did have some things that had Irish names, including a bilingual pun that was basically giving the finger to the Tories, that made Miss Wendy, who is with me and speaks a bit of Gaelic, laugh out loud when she saw it. I do not speak Gaelic. She explained the joke to me, but I do not speak Gaelic. This is a merino cashmere nylon, my first MCN. And this is a dark teal, or petrol it is sometimes called in the UK. And this one, Echo V Sock, cashmere sock fingering. I think Echo V Sock might be the name of the color. But yeah, this is very pretty, and I absolutely love it. Love. Where's that where I got the minis? I think I got these minis when I bought this. Now I'm all confused. There were so many shops there, and they were all wonderful, and half the times I could hardly even see the name of the shop because they just have a little banner somewhere, and it was all such a blur and so much sensory overload that I really wasn't paying attention. So I got all that stuff, and well, I guess I hadn't bought these yet. I bought those later, but I'd earmarked them as that's most likely what I'll need for this project. And then we went and had lunch, and my soup was way too salty. Hold on. Sorry about that. She's still here, and she'll probably be bouncing the bed, so I'll try to wrap this up really quickly. We had lunch, and then we went downstairs and we sat. They had kind of a sitting area with sofas and a little coffee kiosk in the middle of the sales floor. And we hung out there, and people I knew online, like some of the Glasgow Knit Night contingent, and people from various Ravelry groups came over and said hi and sat with us for a while. And it was just really good. And like I said, we went, got the train back, and came home. Oh, sorry. So we sat in the middle, and then at the end, I'm like, oh, Lay Family Yarns. I've heard about them, but I didn't actually, I'd walked past their booth, but we'd approach from one side and their booth was kind of open to the other side, and I didn't go in and get a good look. So I thought I'll just go back really quick. I know they do minis, and have a quick look. Well, this is where I really fell down and got hurt. Not hurt, I landed. I had a very soft, squishy landing, but I did fall down and drop all my money, and I picked up yarn instead. So I got this mini set, which again, they're all falling over, and it's a very autumnal mini set. The autumnal colors aren't really my best colors. Lay Family Yarns. But they've also got these gorgeous purples and burgundies and greens, and those are my colors. And every good blanket needs a few oranges and yellows just to kind of make it pop, 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 pop. So there is room for some oranges. And I believe these are 10 gram minis as well. Doot, doot, doot. Sorry, I'm just going to open this. Doot, doot, doot. And dump them out. This is Autumn Minis. Yeah, 12 times 10 grams. So I've got all of my new minis together. This will keep me going for a while. Yellow, what are you doing sticking out so far? Trying to hog the spotlight. So I think that is a really good mix. We've got some brights, we've got some really saturated colors, some more Crayola-y colors. I will be able to work on my sock blanket at least until the Loch Ness Knit Festival, when obviously I will be buying more minis. But yeah, let's see. 10 gram mini from Lay Family Yarns, 20 gram mini from Mothy and the Squid. And what I figure I'll do is ball them up and put them all in a bag, and then I will just pick them at random, and as long as they're not the same color as the square next to them, I'm going to knit with it. And then having knit it, if there's still more, I'm going to put them in a bowl on the side so that I can, when I've gone through them all, plus whatever else I add in, then I can knit with them again. And then like these 20 gram ones, at that point I can decide if I'm going to put them in the rotation to possibly come up again later for a third or fourth time, or use them to trade for other minis. And I also got this sock yarn. Sorry, the minis there are superwash 70% merino, 25% nylon. I'm just thinking the Mothy and the Squid are superwash 25-75 merino nylon. And this is also Lay Family Yarn. This is Caracal Regatta. I believe Lay Family Yarns is near a beach. They're like a seaside town. But look at these beautiful speckles. The blues with the bluish speckles, and then this kind of burgundy. Sorry, Catherine is now playing in what we call the sofa bedroom, which is where there's a bunch of, if you're familiar with Toot Toots, we've got a whole lot of Toot Toot pieces, and now I can't remember what the really big Legos are called. Anyway, that's the plastic stuff falling over. But yes, so this together is 100 grams, 425 meters. Sock yarn. Doot, doot, doot. Can't wait to use these. That's going to go near the top. And then I've forgotten the name of the lady who does Lay Family Yarns, but her daughter made these quilted project bags. There were a couple different ones. I am not hugely into, my husband was like, nautical theme. I'm like, yes, well, they were better colors for me than some of the other ones. They were ones with more like taupey colors, or ones with more white colors, and I'm not a huge fan of taupe. really don't need a white project bag. There's little seagulls on that one. Seagulls and boats. What I grew up calling starfish, but I think are currently called sea stars. And then, of course, inkers. But I do like these colors. And it is a really sturdy bag. I mean, it is all quilted and there's clearly batting in there. It is a very sturdy, wee little project bag. It's been stamped Lay Family Yarns. They need to charge more for these. I believe this was only £15. She's now bringing me a broken toot toot. If you ask Daddy, he can put new batteries in, okay? We have batteries. Give it to Daddy. Yes. She's holding it up to her ear so she can hear it go tick, tick, tick. Catherine, if you take it to Daddy, it'll sing its songs again. Yeah, go give it to Daddy. Okay, she's turning it off. And hopefully she'll go give it to Daddy. I'm almost done, honestly. So I think I'll put... No, she turned it back on and she's showing it to Christina. Not quite the same. I'll put my little minis. Oh, I think those ones didn't make it into the big smush of minis in this bag for now. So yeah, at the very end, I fell down and spent the most money I spent in any one shop. The Mothry minis was the most I spent on any one thing. The Lay Family Yarns, getting 3 things from the same shop, is the most I spent in any one shop. But this is my first yarn show of the year, so this will keep me going for quite a while. This bag is quite heavy now. So yeah, that was that. It was really nice. It was a really good day out. It was the first time I've been away from both of my children since I did the sewing class back late April. Was that end of May, very beginning June? It has been 3 months since I have had any time to myself without my children, and it was wonderful. Normally I don't take a whole day like the other things I've done where I have done something away from my children. It's usually been like half a day, but this one, it was a 2-hour train ride down, and then we got there around 11 and left around 4, so that's what, 5 hours, and then another 2-hour train ride back up. And basically I got up in the morning and showered and didn't even finish my first thing of tea and got a taxi to catch the train. And then at the end of the day, I got home from the train, ate my dinner, and put my baby to bed. And pretty much just went to bed myself. So it was a big day out. Chris said my husband Chris said that the children were both fine until I came home, and then they both fell apart, which I'm like, well, yeah, but like you come home from work and that's when all of a sudden the wheels come off and they start screaming. So it's just the change in dynamic of having both parents home often destroys what was, until that point, a very nice day. I'm going to put my 3 new skeins in my yarn bowl because they are lovely. I have patterns for these too. Someone else was saying it doesn't count a stash if you have a pattern in mind for it, then it's a whip. And I'm like, not only do I have a pattern in mind for all of my minis, my enormous bag that is completely full of minis, but it is in fact a project that is on the way. I don't think I'm going to get the chance. I'm sorry, it's still bouncing. Is it fixed now? Oh, wonderful. I don't think I'm going to get to do a weekend review. This is probably going on plenty long enough. Yay, it works. Yay, she's taking it out of the room. Highlights from the week. We had to take both the cats. I think I mentioned last time that Libby had to go to the vet over the weekend. Both cats went for a follow-up appointment on Monday. Libby needed to go back on Wednesday just because she hadn't been eating and she'd lost a fair amount of weight. She's only a 3.3 kilo cat at the best of times, and she was down to like 2.7 kilos. So that's like 2.7 kilos is what, 6 pounds? She's not a big cat. She's just a baby cat. Just itty bitty. So she loses any weight. She's skin and bones and wasting away to nothing. So we had to take her back on Wednesday. They'd given us crack food, which she won't even eat. It's food that's supposed to be like so delicious to cats. They cannot possibly resist it. My big fluffy fat ginger cat, he could not resist it. My slinky little Libby, she could. She just wasn't interested. We did syringe some into her mouth, force feed her, and she swallowed it like it was delicious. She was like, yum, yum, yum. I hate having this done to me, but the food's quite good. But she wouldn't eat it just from a bowl. But she is eating and pooping and Sparky again. Are you okay, baby?
I tripped over one of Catherine's shoes.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yes. What did you use?
Pen.
Pen. Do you want to? Pen. Is that marker? Yeah. It'll wash off. Although she did the other day, like, rub some into her eye and then cried. So I hope she doesn't do that again today. That was when she'd done it with black. Blue is much better than black. Yes. So yeah. Then Oliver goes back on Monday, but his eye does look much better. It's looking, I mean, it looks bad, but it looks bad in a way that's healing. You know, like when bruises turn all green and mottled and ugly, or when scabs are starting to fall off. It's that kind of looks bad. It's not an ongoing problem looks bad. I think he's definitely healing. That was when the vet saw him on Monday. She felt that it wasn't, previously it had been still getting worse. It wasn't getting worse. So yeah, fingers crossed that both cats will soon be all better and not having to go to the vet anymore. Tulip, who today introduced herself as Pusheen, went to her second Girl Guides and her first Girl Brigades this week. Had a lovely time at both. Catherine and I ran errands in town while she was at Girl Brigades. Picked up the keys to our friend's house and got my laptop back. My laptop had broken, so I wasn't able... I don't know if I even added show notes to last week's video because I didn't have my laptop. I can't remember. I probably did. I'm sure I did. And I record on my iPad, and then I can add show notes on my laptop after it's uploaded. Someone is now brushing their teeth. That's good. Do I have like a rainbow on my face? Yes, I have a rainbow on my face. I'm like, why do I look blue? I have a rainbow on my face. Let's see. Yes, rainbows. It's lovely and sunny, and I'm sorry, I can see it bouncing, but I can't seem to hold still. So we got a man with a van to stop by, and I took some stuff that's been stored in our garage and put it in my friend's new house because I have their keys. And we went to, Catherine and I went to the Thursday morning play group, which we almost never go to. In fact, we had never been to before. I think it was like Easter last year before I found out there was a Thursday play group at the same place and time that we do the Monday play group, but it is technically a different group. It's a lot of the same people, but they're different organizations. I believe it's a legal distinction. So we went to the Thursday play group, and on Friday we went to gymnastics, and that was really fun. We'd missed last week because we had to take Libby to the vet, so we got to go this week. Catherine ran like a low fever for a couple of days, but she was hot to the touch, but I did an ear thermometer, and she was like, it was a normal temperature, so I don't really know. She woke up at 3 a.m. and then, no, that's the whole story. She woke up at 3 a.m. one night and then took a nap at noon and then went to bed at a normal time. It was not much fun for me. I let her watch her pad, her little videos, like Mother Goose Club and stuff in the bed while I tried to doze next to her, and then every so often she would just like take a car and drive it across my face. 2-year-olds are honestly just the best. She's so cute and so charming, and also at the same time so exasperating. Let's see, anything else? But she's a normal temperature again now, so I don't know what came of that. She didn't seem like lethargic or off her food or anything. So it may have just been a teething related thing. She's got her 2-year-old molders on the bottom, but she doesn't have them on the top yet that I've noticed.
Can you take this off? I want to wear the black shirt again.
Okay. No, I just meant turn around. Oh, ask Daddy to help you with it, okay?
Why?
Because I'm busy and I can't get it with 2 hands. You just have to pull it up over your head, kiddo.
I can't.
Okay, ask Daddy for help. Ask Daddy for help. So yeah, that was kind of our last week. I went out yesterday to the Perth Festival of Yarn. We are not particularly doing anything today. It's gorgeous. We can do gardening and play in the sunshine, and I can record my podcast in natural light so you can see the colors with added rainbows. Thank you for joining me. I'm sorry that this was such a bouncy, interrupty thing. This is why I do it. When you watch the ones in the middle of the night, in the dark, and you think, why does she do it when there's such terrible lighting? This is why. Thank you very much for joining me. What day is it today? This is the 8th of September, which means if you count my makeup tutorial video that started this last year before I started the knitting ones, I've been doing this for a year. I think this is episode 34. Obviously, I missed a few weeks. Yes, this would be episode the blah 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 blah. This would be episode 34, and yeah, I did it for a year, so I can do it for another year, maybe. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will talk to you hopefully next week. Bye.